Today's story is about President Ibrahim Traoré, the youngest head of state in the world, who has become a symbol of resilience and defiance in the face of relentless challenges. Since seizing power in a military coup in September 2022, Traoré has navigated a tumultuous political landscape marked by internal dissent, external pressures, and a series of assassination attempts. His leadership has been tested time and again, yet he remains steadfast in a commitment to steer Burkina Faso toward a path of sovereignty and stability. Recently, there was an attempt to poison him. Reports say a spy tried to get close enough to harm him, but President Traoré was alert. He discovered the plan before it could succeed. His quick thinking may have saved his life. This was not the first danger he has faced. Since he took power in 2022, there have been many attempts to remove him. Some have tried through violence, others through betrayal. But each time, Traoré has survived, and each time, he has grown stronger. He is not just fighting for his own survival. He is fighting for the freedom and dignity of his people. Traoré wants Burkina Faso to be safe, independent, and proud. He refuses to let outside powers or hidden enemies decide the future of his country. The story of Ibrahim Traoré is bigger than one man. It is about a nation refusing to be controlled. It is about the dreams of a people who want peace, security, and a future they can build with their own hands. In this documentary, we will explore who Captain Traoré is, why he became a target, what the poisoning attempt means, how his leadership is changing Burkina Faso and inspiring others. In a time of great challenges, Ibrahim Traoré is showing what it means to lead with courage. If you're new here or just enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with all of our latest videos. Now, let's jump right into today's story. Captain Ibrahim Traoré was not born into politics. He was born into a simple family in Burkina Faso, a country known for its spirit of resistance and its deep desire for freedom. From a young age, Traoré was serious, determined, and committed to helping others. He studied hard and later joined the army. As a soldier, Traoré quickly earned respect for his discipline, intelligence, and bravery. He rose through the ranks, not because of connections, but because of hard work and a clear sense of duty. Like many soldiers, he spent time in the dangerous parts of the country, fighting against terrorist groups that had brought fear to many villages. Traoré saw firsthand how people suffered, how farmers were forced off their lands, how children could not go to school, and how families lived in fear. At some point, he realized that fighting on the battlefield was not enough. The real problem was leadership. The leaders of Burkina Faso at the time were not doing enough to protect the people. Some were seen as corrupt. Some were accused of working more for foreign interests than for their own citizens. In September 2022, Traoré and a group of young officers decided that things had to change. They organized a peaceful coup, removing the then leader, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, from power. Traoré became the new head of state. He promised the people three main things: security, to protect them from terrorists; sovereignty, to make sure Burkina Faso made its own decisions without foreign control; dignity, to restore pride in the nation. From the first day in office, Traoré made it clear he was there to serve, not to rule for his own gain. He cut down unnecessary government spending, called for national unity, and spoke openly against foreign interference in Burkina Faso's affairs. Many saw him as a fresh hope, a leader who looked and spoke like one of them. But hope is dangerous to those who profit from instability. As Traoré grew stronger, so did the threats against him. To understand why President Ibrahim Traoré is such a target, it's important to understand the challenges facing Burkina Faso as a nation. Burkina Faso, like many countries in West Africa, has long struggled with issues of security, political instability, and economic challenges. Over the years, the country has been caught in a dangerous cycle of corruption, weak leadership, and external influences that have often prevented it from reaching its full potential. For many years, the government did not do enough to protect the people from terrorist attacks. Armed groups, often with links to global terror organizations, have waged an ongoing campaign of violence in the region. These groups, often described as jihadists, have spread fear across the Sahel region of Africa, causing thousands of deaths and forcing millions of people to flee their homes. At the same time, political corruption and mismanagement weaken the government's ability to respond effectively. Leaders were often seen as being more focused on their own power and wealth rather than the welfare of the people. Burkina Faso, under previous leaders, suffered from a lack of trust in its government. The army was often seen as the only institution capable of offering protection. This is a situation that President Traoré inherited when he took power. The country was on the brink, with entire villages being overrun by terrorists and the government struggling to keep the peace. In fact, Traoré was not the first leader to come to power through a military coup. Burkina Faso had already seen one coup in 2014 and another in 2022, signaling deep dissatisfaction with the political system. But Traoré's arrival in power brought hope to many. His leadership was seen as a break from the past, and his focus on sovereignty, security, and independence resonated with the people. He rejected outside interference, including from former colonial powers like France, and he sought to rebuild Burkina Faso from within. However, his rise also threatened many powerful interests. The story of the poisoning attempt on President Ibrahim Traoré is one of danger, intrigue, and a complex web of threats surrounding his leadership. In early reports, it was revealed that a spy had been planted close to the president with the intention of poisoning him. The details of how the plot was uncovered remain somewhat unclear, but the key fact is that the attempt was foiled before it could succeed. This poisoning plot highlights the extreme lengths to which those who oppose Traoré are willing to go. For many, the rise of a strong, independent leader in Burkina Faso is seen as a direct threat to their interests. Whether it's foreign governments, powerful business interests, or internal enemies within the country, Traoré's decision to break free from outside control has made him a target. The attempt to poison him serves as proof that these enemies see him as a serious obstacle to their plans. However, what many fail to understand is that Traoré is not afraid of these threats. If anything, it only strengthens his resolve to fight for the people of Burkina Faso and the entire Sahel region. This poisoning attempt was not the first plot against Traoré's life, and it certainly won't be the last. Over the past year, there have been multiple assassination attempts and coup attempts against him, each one failing to stop his rise. From covert plots to direct confrontations, the enemies of Burkina Faso's sovereignty are relentless in their efforts to destabilize the country and weaken its leadership. But despite these challenges, Traoré's popularity among the people remains high. His message of unity, self-reliance, and strength has resonated deeply, especially as Burkina Faso faces a constant terrorist threat from various jihadist groups operating in the region. People see him as their protector, a leader who refuses to let them be subjugated to foreign influence and terrorism. For the people of Burkina Faso, the poisoning attempt only reinforces the idea that Traoré is a man of purpose, someone willing to fight for his country no matter the personal cost. The attempted poisoning of President Ibrahim Traoré is just one chapter in the ongoing saga of political instability and attempts on his life. Since taking power in 2022, Traoré has faced a relentless series of threats, from internal dissent within the military to foreign powers trying to control Burkina Faso's future. These challenges underscore the high stakes of his leadership and the fierce opposition he faces. In 2022, when Captain Traoré and his fellow officers staged a coup that ousted the former President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, it wasn't just a shift in leadership. It was a rejection of the status quo. Damiba had failed to protect Burkina Faso from terrorist attacks and had alienated the population with his failure to deliver on key promises, including security and economic stability. Traoré's coup was seen by many as the only solution to the country's worsening crisis. However, not everyone welcomed the change. Some parts of the military and certain political factions that had benefited under Damiba's rule began to work against Traoré's new government. These factions sought to restore the previous regime, using any means necessary, including covert operations to undermine Traoré's leadership. Since Traoré's rise to power, there have been multiple coup attempts, many of which have involved internal conspiracies within the military. These efforts have been directed not only at removing him from office, but at destabilizing the very foundation of the nation he is working to rebuild. It is clear that President Traoré's rejection of foreign military bases and his call for Burkina Faso to reclaim its sovereignty has angered certain external powers, especially former colonial powers like France. In the past, France had maintained a strong military presence in Burkina Faso and other West African countries, with many accusing the French government of exploiting Africa's resources and meddling in the politics of African nations for their own interests. For example, in January 2023, France withdrew its military presence from Burkina Faso in the wake of the military government's demands. Traoré's refusal to allow foreign forces to operate within Burkina Faso's borders was not just a political stance. It was a bold statement of independence. This move, however, upset many foreign powers who saw it as a threat to their influence in the region. In addition, terrorist groups have taken advantage of Burkina Faso's internal instability to launch deadly attacks. The country has become a battleground for jihadist groups looking to impose their ideologies on the people. But despite these setbacks, Traoré has remained committed to the fight against terrorism, vowing to rid the country of these foreign-backed extremist elements. His resolve has only grown stronger, even in the face of death threats and challenges to his leadership. Since taking power, President Ibrahim Traoré has had a profound impact on Burkina Faso. While his leadership has been tested by numerous challenges, including violence, internal opposition, and external threats, his efforts have already begun to reshape the nation in fundamental ways. One of the most significant aspects of President Traoré's leadership is his commitment to Burkina Faso sovereignty. Before he took office, the country was heavily influenced by foreign powers, most notably France. France had military bases in Burkina Faso and other parts of West Africa, and many citizens viewed the relationship as one of neocolonialism, where foreign interests were often put above the needs of the people. Traoré took a bold step by demanding the withdrawal of French troops from Burkina Faso and refusing to allow foreign powers to dictate the country's policies. This move was a statement that Burkina Faso would no longer tolerate foreign interference in its internal affairs. The decision was popular among many Burkinabe who felt that their country's independence was being compromised by external forces. By asserting sovereignty, Traoré has not only strengthened Burkina Faso's position in the region, but also sent a message to other African nations. It is possible to stand up to foreign control and reclaim one's future. One of the biggest issues facing Burkina Faso has been terrorism. For years, jihadist groups have terrorized the country, causing mass displacement and countless deaths. Burkina Faso became one of the epicenters of a growing terror wave in the Sahel region. When Traoré took power, one of his main promises was to improve security and protect the people. He has worked tirelessly to increase the military's effectiveness and push back against extremist groups that have plagued the country. While the country is still in a fragile security situation, there have been significant gains under Traoré's leadership. The Burkinabe armed forces have regained control over several key regions previously under control of terrorists. His government has also increased collaboration with other West African nations to tackle the shared threat of terrorism in the Sahel. Another notable aspect of President Traoré's leadership is his focus on unity. For many years, the people of Burkina Faso have been divided by political, ethnic, and regional differences. But under Traoré, there has been an effort to bring people together and emphasize what they have in common. He has also been vocal about the importance of patriotism, encouraging citizens to take pride in their country and work toward rebuilding it together. This has led to a renewed sense of national identity, especially among younger generations who see Traoré as a role model and a symbol of hope. Traoré's leadership is not just important for Burkina Faso. His rise to power has made him a significant figure in West African politics. Many Africans view him as someone who is standing up to the powerful forces that have often dictated the future of the continent. His refusal to bow to outside pressures has made him a hero for many who believe Africa should have more control over its own destiny. His actions are not just about military success or political survival. They are about creating a new vision for Africa, one where the people of the continent have the freedom to choose their leaders, control their resources, and live in peace without interference from former colonial powers or external forces. The journey of President Ibrahim Traoré is still in its early stages, but already his leadership has started to lay the foundations for a transformed Burkina Faso, a country that stands on the threshold of a new era of independence, unity, and resilience. While many challenges remain, there is hope and optimism for the future under his leadership, building a stronger, more independent nation. One of the key priorities of President Traoré's government is to continue the work of strengthening Burkina Faso's sovereignty. His leadership has already reduced the influence of foreign powers, particularly former colonial powers, in the country's internal affairs. But this is just the beginning. Traoré's long-term vision is to create a self-sufficient Burkina Faso, one that is able to rely on its own resources, both human and natural, to drive its economy and development. In the coming years, Traoré's government will likely focus on investing in infrastructure, education, and healthcare, ensuring that the benefits of independence are felt by all citizens, not just a privileged few. By prioritizing domestic capacity building, he hopes to create a sustainable economy that is not dependent on foreign aid or the exploitation of the country's resources by outside powers. Traoré's vision is one of economic self-reliance, where Burkina Faso has the ability to manage its resources, create jobs for its people, and develop industries that can thrive without relying on foreign companies. This is crucial for ensuring that future generations can have prosperous lives within the borders of their own country, rather than seeking opportunities abroad. Perhaps the most urgent task ahead for President Traoré is to continue the fight against terrorism. While the country has made significant strides under his leadership, much work remains to be done to secure the borders and protect the citizens of Burkina Faso. The ongoing threat from jihadist groups and terrorist factions remains a significant challenge. However, under Traoré's leadership, there is a sense of determination to reclaim control over the territories that have been taken by these extremist groups. With a renewed focus on military strength and regional cooperation, the fight against terrorism will continue to be a key focus for Traoré's government. His leadership will likely see a multi-pronged approach that not only involves strengthening the military but also focuses on building social cohesion, reducing poverty, and offering opportunities to young people. Many of the terrorist groups that operate in the region recruit from impoverished and disenfranchised communities, and Traoré's efforts to address the root causes of instability may go a long way toward curbing the spread of extremism. One of the most promising aspects of Traoré's leadership is his focus on national unity. Burkina Faso is a diverse country with many different ethnic groups and religious communities. The legacy of colonialism and the ensuing political instability has often led to deep divisions within the country. However, under President Traoré's leadership, there is a growing sense of national pride that transcends these differences. His administration's emphasis on patriotism and national solidarity will be essential as Burkina Faso moves toward a more inclusive society. He will work toward ensuring that all citizens, regardless of their background, have a stake in the country's future. Social transformation, particularly through education and healthcare, is also a central component of Traoré's long-term vision. By focusing on the empowerment of youth, the president aims to provide the next generation with the tools they need to succeed and contribute to the nation's growth. Education, in particular, will play a pivotal role in creating a more equitable society where opportunities are available to all, not just those in urban centers or the elite classes. President Ibrahim Traoré's leadership is not just a beacon for Burkina Faso. It has the potential to become a model for other African nations. As West Africa and the Sahel continue to grapple with political instability, terrorism, and the challenges of neocolonialism, Traoré's example of independent leadership and self-reliance can inspire other countries to pursue similar paths of sovereignty. By prioritizing local solutions to local problems, Traoré's Burkina Faso could serve as a proof of concept for African nations seeking to free themselves from the influence of former colonial powers and outside military interventions. His commitment to African unity, regional cooperation, and political and economic independence offers a vision of a continent where nations are free to chart their own course without the interference of outside interests. As President Ibrahim Traoré continues to lead Burkina Faso through one of its most turbulent periods in modern history, his leadership represents both a challenge and an opportunity for the country. Under his guidance, Burkina Faso is stepping away from foreign influence, reclaiming its sovereignty, and striving for a stronger, more independent future. The country is embracing the vision of a leadership that is deeply rooted in the values of self-reliance, national pride, and the fight for security and peace. Traoré's leadership has been tested by a series of attempts to undermine his position, both from internal rivals and external forces who see his rise as a threat to the status quo. Whether it is a poisoning attempt that sought to remove him from power or the ongoing coups and military uprisings, Traoré has faced countless threats to his life and his mission. But what stands out in his leadership is not only his survival against these threats, but also his resilience in the face of adversity. Each assassination attempt, each coup plot, and each terrorist attack aimed at destabilizing his government has only strengthened Traoré's resolve. He has shown that he is unafraid to take bold decisions for the betterment of his country and the future of the African continent. This unwavering commitment to his people, even at great personal risk, has won the loyalty and admiration of many Burkinabe citizens who see him as a hope for a better, more sovereign future. Traoré's impact on Africa and the Sahel. The consequences of President Traoré's leadership extend beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. His bold stance against foreign military presence and his efforts to push back against foreign influence in the region position him as a key figure in West African politics. His actions could inspire other countries in the Sahel region to reject outside control and work toward regional cooperation and self-reliance. The Sahel, a region plagued by terrorist activity, political instability, and economic hardships, has long struggled to assert its independence. Burkina Faso, under Traoré's leadership, could become a symbol of hope and possibility for other nations facing similar challenges. The courage to stand up to foreign powers, particularly former colonial masters, is an example that could spark a broader movement across the African continent. As West African countries come to terms with the reality of terrorism and foreign interference, Traoré's leadership offers a path forward. His commitment to security, peace, and sovereignty may be the key to long-term stability in the region. The future of Burkina Faso is still uncertain, with significant challenges ahead. The country continues to face terrorist groups, economic instability, and political divisions. Yet, under Traoré's leadership, there's a renewed sense of optimism. The president's vision for a self-sufficient, sovereign Burkina Faso is one that aligns with the aspirations of the people who want to see their country thrive and prosper. In the years to come, Traoré's leadership will likely continue to evolve, but his unwavering commitment to Burkina Faso's sovereignty and his resilience in the face of adversity will remain at the core of his governance. As the country moves toward a future defined by unity, self-reliance, and national pride, the people of Burkina Faso will undoubtedly look to their president as a beacon of hope they have long waited for. President Ibrahim Traoré's journey is far from over. The challenges ahead are great, but with his strong leadership, Burkina Faso stands poised for a new era, one where the strength of its people, the resolve of its leaders, and the unity of the nation will determine its future. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you again next time. Look after yourselves, guys. Be safe.